The year is 2080. The world is not the same place your grandparents talked about. We have seen so much change. Technology, once just a tool, is now a part of us, like a friend who is always there. Climate change, the big monster of the 21st century, is finally being tamed. We learned our lesson the hard way. Now cities breathe clean air and rivers run clear again. We live in a world where problems are not just complained about on social media. They are solved with brilliant ideas and hard work. It is a time of hope, a time when humanity is finally working together for a better tomorrow. This is the world I want to tell you about. In a bustling, vibrant Mumbai lived a young man named Arjun. He was just like any other Indian youth, full of dreams, energy, and a little bit of restlessness. Arjun grew up listening to stories from his grandfather about a divided, polluted world. But Arjun's world was different. He saw holograms advertising tours to the moon and read about new scientific breakthroughs every day. He believed in progress. His biggest dream was not just to get a good job or buy a nice house. He wanted to see the future with his own eyes. And for him, the future was happening right next door, in Asia. Arjun's heart was set on one place in particular, China. For decades, stories had been trickling in about its amazing transformation. It was no longer just about factories and big cities. It had become a living laboratory for the future. He had read about the Sky Dragon Corridor, a stretch of land from Shanghai to Chengdu that was said to be the most advanced place on Earth. It was a place where science fiction had become reality. So, Arjun saved up his money, packed his bags, and told his parents, "I am going to see the future." They were worried, of course, like all Indian parents, but they also saw the fire in his eyes and knew he had to go. His journey was not just a vacation, it was a quest to understand how a country could reinvent itself so completely. He wanted to see if the stories were true. Could a nation with so many people really build a paradise? Could technology and nature truly live in harmony? Arjun booked his ticket on the new suborbital flight, a 2-hour hop from Mumbai to Shanghai. As the plane prepared for takeoff, he looked out at his beloved city. He was leaving India behind, but he was also carrying India with him in his heart. He promised himself he would learn everything he could and bring the inspiration back home. Arjun landed in Shanghai, and his jaw dropped. This was not just a city, it was a living organism of glass, light, and green spaces. Flying vehicles, called skypods, zipped silently between towering skyscrapers. These buildings were not just tall, they were smart. Their surfaces shimmered, covered in solar skins that harvested energy from the sun. Giant digital dragons and phoenixes flew across the glass facades, advertising everything from noodle shops to virtual reality games. He had seen futuristic movies, but this was real. The air smelled fresh, like a garden after a light rain. There was no sound of honking cars, only the gentle hum of advanced technology working in perfect sync. A small, friendly robot guide with big, expressive digital eyes rolled up to him. "Welcome, Arjun," it chirped in perfect Hindi. "I am Xiao AI, your guide to Shanghai. Your biosignature is confirmed. Shall we proceed to your hotel?" Arjun was stunned. How did it know his name and language? The robot explained that the city's AI system, the Guardian Dragon, managed everything smoothly, from traffic to tourist assistance, all while protecting privacy. Arjun followed Xiao AI through streets that were so clean, you could probably eat off them. Children were playing in parks that seemed to float between buildings, connected by glowing bridges. The buildings themselves were a wonder. Arjun learned that they were breathing buildings. They had their own weather systems, recycling water from the air and using vertical farms on their sides to grow fresh food for the residents. Massive green walls covered entire sections of the skyscrapers, acting as the city's lungs. He saw people practicing Tai Chi on floating platforms in mid-air parks, suspended hundreds of meters above the ground. It felt like a dream. He kept taking out his holocamera to capture everything, but he knew the pictures would never do justice to the feeling of being there. That evening, From his hotel room on the 150th floor, Arjun looked out at the city. The sky was a river of light, with thousands of sky pods flowing like gentle fish. He saw families having dinner in floating restaurants that drifted slowly through the air. The entire city was a beautiful, complex dance of light, nature, and humanity. He sent a message back home to his family chat group. "I have arrived in Wonderland." The response was immediate, a flood of emojis and questions. Arjun smiled. He was just getting started, and he already had so many stories to tell. The next day, Arjun was ready for the highlight of his trip. He was going to ride the hyperloop, nicknamed the Lightning Dragon. This was the world's fastest train, connecting the entire Sky Dragon corridor. The station itself was not a station. It was more like a calm, beautiful art gallery. There were no crowds, no pushing, no chaos. An AI system scheduled each passenger's pod to perfection. Arjun stepped into his personal cabin. It was sleek and comfortable, with a single large window that was currently opaque. A soft voice announced, "Next stop, Eco Delta Village, 1,200 kilometers away. Journey time, 30 minutes." As the pod accelerated, Arjun felt a gentle push. Then, the window turned transparent, and his breath was taken away. The pod was traveling through a transparent tube, and the view was unbelievable. One moment, they were speeding through the futuristic cityscape of Shanghai. The next, they were flying over vast green fields and sparkling blue rivers. He saw wind turbines spinning gracefully in unison, their blades catching the morning sun. He saw patches of land where new forests were being grown, each tree tagged and monitored by agricultural drones. The journey was so smooth and quiet that it felt like he was flying in a dream. The view kept changing, like a high-speed slideshow of a perfect world. The hyperloop tube occasionally dipped underground, and the walls of the tunnel would light up, showing educational animations about China's history or its environmental projects. Arjun watched a simulation of how the Gobi Desert was being turned into a green oasis. He saw how massive solar farms in the west were powering the cities in the east. It was not just a train ride, it was an educational experience. It was a statement from China to the world. Look what we have built. Look what is possible. In what felt like only a few minutes, the pod began to slow down. The voice announced their arrival at the Eco Delta Village. Arjun stepped out, his mind still trying to process the speed and the sights. He had just traveled a distance that would have taken half a day by old-fashioned planes, and he had done it in 30 minutes. He had seen a country from the sky without ever leaving the ground. On his social media feed, which he updated with a live stream from the Hyperloop, his friends and followers in India were going crazy. The comments were all the same. "Is this real?" Arjun replied to them all with a single message. "It's real. And it's incredible." Arjun arrived in what was called an eco-delta village. It was not a village in the old sense. It was a cluster of beautiful, pagoda-style buildings floating on a serene lake. These were not just houses, they were self-sufficient ecosystems. Solar panels on the curved roofs looked like traditional tiles, but generated all the power the village needed. The water in the lake was crystal clear, and he could see fish swimming between the foundations of the buildings. Walkways made of woven bamboo and smart glass connected the floating homes. It was a perfect blend of ancient Chinese aesthetics and futuristic technology. He was welcomed by a village elder, a woman with a kind smile named May. She explained how these villages were designed to live with nature, not against it. "We don't fight the floods anymore. We float with them," she said, pointing to the flexible anchors that allowed the entire village to rise and fall with the water level. She showed him the smart farms. These were vertical structures where AI-controlled robots planted, watered, and harvested crops. There were no pesticides, and water was recycled with almost 100% efficiency. Arjun tasted a strawberry picked straight from the vine, and it was the sweetest strawberry he had ever had. May took him to the village center, a beautiful community hall built around an ancient banyan tree. The tree was wired with sensors that monitored its health, and its branches were integrated into the structure of the building. Inside, children were learning calligraphy from a robot teacher, while older residents played a virtual reality version of mahjong with friends in another village miles away. Arjun saw how tradition was not forgotten. It was enhanced by technology. The old stories were now told through interactive holograms, and ancient songs were preserved and shared with the world through the global network. As the sun set, the entire village began to glow with soft, warm light. Lanterns made of biodegradable material floated on the lake, their light powered by the movement of the water. Arjun sat with May and her family, sharing a simple meal of fresh vegetables from the farm and fish from the lake. They shared stories, his of a vibrant, chaotic Mumbai, and theirs of a quiet, harmonious life. Arjun realized that progress was not just about flying cars and tall buildings. It was also about finding a way to live a happy, sustainable life. He felt a deep sense of peace, a feeling that, honestly, humanity was on the right path. The final leg of Arjun's journey through the Sky Dragon corridor took him to the mountains of Zhangjiajie. This was the home of the legendary Sky Dragon Bridge. It was not a bridge made of steel or concrete. It was a shimmering, almost invisible structure of reinforced diamond fiber that stretched for several kilometers between two massive stone pillars, the very same that had inspired the movie Avatar. Walking on it was like walking on air. Below him, the clouds drifted slowly, creating a sea of white. He could see the tops of other stone pillars peeking through, like islands in the sky. It was a spiritual experience, but China's ambition did not stop at the clouds. From the mountains, Arjun took a shuttle to the gateway to the moon spaceport in Hainan. This was humanity's busiest bridge to the final frontier. The main terminal was a massive dome, and through its transparent ceiling, Arjun could see spacecraft taking off and landing with a silent, majestic grace. These were not the explosive rocket launches of the 20th century. These ships used magnetic accelerators and fusion drives, making space travel a routine affair. The departure board listed flights to Tranquility City, Gagarin Station, and even Mars Prep Shuttle. Arjun went on a tour of the facility. He saw astronauts from India, America, Nigeria, and Brazil working side by side with their Chinese colleagues. The old rivalries of nations had faded in the face of a common goal, the exploration of space. Scientists were collaborating on projects that were once the stuff of science fiction, like mining asteroids for rare minerals and building telescopes to look for life on distant planets. An Indian scientist, Dr. Sharma, who was leading a project on terraforming, met him. She told him, "Here, we are not from different countries, we are just from Earth." His tour ended at the Ocean's Cradle, an underwater hotel just off the coast of the spaceport. His room was a glass bubble with a stunning view of a restored coral reef. He watched as giant manta rays and schools of colorful fish swam past his window. That night, lying in his bed, he could see the coral reef below and the stars of the Milky Way above through the glass ceiling. He had walked above the clouds, seen the gateway to the stars, and was now sleeping under the sea. It was a day of impossible wonders, a testament to what humanity could achieve when it dared to dream big. When Arjun returned to Mumbai, he was a changed man. The city was still the same, noisy, energetic, and full of life. But he saw it with new eyes. He saw not just the chaos, but the potential. He saw the same energy, the same drive, the same dreams that had built the wonders he had witnessed in China. His family and friends gathered around him, eager to hear his stories. He did not just show them pictures and videos on his hollow projector. He shared the feeling, the hope, and the inspiration he had brought back with him. At a local college, he was invited to give a talk. The hall was packed with young students, their faces full of curiosity. Arjun stood on the stage and began, "I went to see the future, and I am here to tell you that it is bright." He spoke not just of the flying cars and smart buildings, but of the clean air, the green deserts, and the floating villages. He described the Sky Dragon Bridge, not as an engineering feat, but as a symbol of humanity's ability to reach for the heavens. He told them about the scientists from different countries working together at the spaceport. His stories lit a fire in the minds of the young students. They asked him 1,000 questions. "Can we do this in India?" a young engineering student asked. "Yes," Arjun replied. "The technology is just a tool. The real magic is in the vision, the will to work together, and the courage to try. We have all of that. We have it in abundance." He talked about how India could build its own eco-villages, harness its own solar power, and clean its own rivers. He painted a picture of a future where the gateway of India stood proudly in a clean green Mumbai. Arjun became a storyteller, an ambassador of hope. His travel blog, Arjun's Asian Odyssey, became a sensation, inspiring millions of young people across the subcontinent. He ended every talk and every blog post with the same message. The future is not a place you visit, it is a thing you build. The 21st century was about competition. The 22nd will be about collaboration. So let's not wait. Let's start building our future together, today. And as he looked at the hopeful faces in the crowd, he knew that the seeds of a new, brighter future for his own country were already